Now that we've created our schematic or our panel or our switches or our connectors in our AutoCAD electrical drawings and projects, we need to start thinking about reporting on those particular drawings. What I've done is set up a new project, which is our schematic reporting. It's JIC using the American Imperial Standard, and we've got drawing 001, which is a schematic reporting drawing. Now, I've called this a general drawing because you would do this regardless of which electrical standard you're using. There's two format types when you're actually recording reports within AutoCAD Electrical. Now, you'll notice I've already added the drawing to the project. You must have a drawing set up in a project to generate a report. Two types of reports are here. There's a general report there. You've also got your panel reports as well. Now, we don't actually have a panel on the drawing in this project, so we would use this report here. And when you click on it, it takes a few seconds to think about it, but it will actually create a big dialog box like so. So you can see there that we've got lots of different types of standard reports. We've got a bill of materials, a missing bill of materials, we've got components, and obviously in this particular case I'm just going to go for active drawing. Now there's a lot of information in here that I can change. If I just click on OK though quickly, there is my report as generated about my components in the drawing. So you can see there's the catalogue description, catalogue number, manufacturer, sub-quantity, and the tag names on the drawing. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail here on headers and putting on the drawing and things. We're going to look at that later on during this section. But you can do things like add page breaks if you want to. So there's page 1. So as it moves down the page and gets to the end of the page, it will then go to page 2 and so on. I can add blanks between the entries like that as well. I can sort, and I can sort via item, secondary sort, third sort, and so on. Alphanumeric sort order. I can do it numerically if I want to. I'm not going to, but those are the settings that you can use. I can change the report format. I can change what available fields I've actually got. So what I might do there is, for example, add item and then move that up a level and OK that. And as you can see, it gives me an item column in the report as well. Now, if I just close that for now, and then go to panel reports, you'll notice the dialog box is very, very similar. But what you're getting now is a different type of report, obviously based on panels, which we don't have right now. So there's really no point in generating a panel bill of materials when I haven't got a panel in my project or in any of my drawings. But you can see the setup is very much the same, just slightly different display options here with tallied format and so on. So those are your two different report types or two different report formats that you can use. So I'll just cancel that there. So you've got the regular report here, which is in your schematic panel, and you've got the panel, if you'll pardon the pun, where you can generate your panel reports as well. So there's two types of report, and you must have a current project activated with drawings obviously listed in the drawing list in the project. Now that we know which report type that we're going to use, we can now look at the report format and setup in a little bit more detail. Now, you'll notice we have a report format set up here, and we also have user attributes as well. So let's look at those first before we go over here to our schematic report here. So report format setup, again, when I click on it, it'll open up a dialog box. And as you can see here now, each report format in the list, I can change the setup. So you'll notice each time I go to a different report for schematics there, I can change the setup. There's the panel reports there. I can change the setup for those as well. So what we're doing here is we're including information. Now I'm going to go for a component schematic report there. There's the category. It's schematic. Include components, include cable markers, include connections. Also, I might include the children for the above as well, that parent-sibling relationship. I can save the report to a file, change the report fields, put it on the drawing, and sort the fields that way, so I can automatically put it on the drawing if I want to. My installation codes to extract and my location codes to extract, I want all of them, or I can leave it blank, or I can have a named installation. I can sort by drawing or project as well. I can also install special breaks. So you might have installation location, manufacturer, rename, or file name there. So you can change anything there that you like, but I'm going to switch special breaks off. I don't actually need it in this particular case. So I'm having a component schematic report. So now I've done that, save changes to unnamed. Now it's actually unnamed. I'll say no there because what it's been doing there is creating a custom report format, which I didn't need to save. I don't need to save any report formats because I've already got them built here. There's loads of them already. So there's my component one. It's already set up for me. But if I need to create a custom one, I can. Let's look at our component now. We're going to look in the active drawing. We're going to include components, include cable markers, include connectors, and include any children in the parent-sibling relationships with any components in the drawing. Installation codes, location codes, freshen project database. Now, if I go to format there, what that does is it says select from report setting files listed below. So this is a listing of files found that have a prefix equal to the report type shown above. So that's COMP, so that is component. So what I can do is I can browse and select report settings from different report type setups, which is the SET file. I don't need to worry about that. I've got one ready to go, so I'll click on OK. And there's my report there, and it's got all of my parent-child ones as well, the CR06, 05, and so on. They're all linked together. Now, you'll notice I can set everything that I want to come up in my report here. So when it comes to setup now, I can put time and date. So I might add the time and date. There it is there. I might add the title line, report for drawing general schematic reporting.dwg, project line, puts the project in as well, and the column labels as well. So I can have a nice, neat report with all that information in there. If I want to add page breaks or special breaks, I can. And what I can do is things like save it to file, put it on the drawing, or I can just print it straight off onto a printer. What I might do here is just drop it onto the drawing. I'm just going to leave everything as is and just click on OK, and there it is there. So I can just possibly drop that there. It'll possibly override that circuit a little bit. If I close that, yes, it's just overridden it slightly, but you can see how quick and easy it is to generate that report from the format setup that you've got. So it's very quick and easy to generate these reports. Let's have a look at them in more detail as we work through this section. Let's have a very brief look now at automatic reports. It's this icon here, again on the Reports tab there on the ribbon in the Miscellaneous panel. And we'll look at that in a moment. We'll just quickly check, yes, we have an active project, yes, we have an active drawing. Otherwise, automatic reports won't work. So if I now click on Automatic Reports, it'll open up the dialog box for me. And you'll see that we've got all of the schematic reports and the panel reports, and I can set these up to run automatically. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned those .set files, which are your report setup files. If you've already got one of those set up here in a particular folder, you're looking for the folder that contains the .set files, what you can do is you can tell AutoCAD Electrical to automatically report. So you can pick reports from this list here, and you can select Add. Now, obviously, I haven't got a .set file set up for this. If I did, the format file name would be here, and I'd be able to add and remove the report formats I want that go into this setup file down here. Now, I haven't got one set up, so these are grayed out right now, but I can still explain what happens. Once you've got that set up, you can go into Open Report Grouping, and you can set up a report grouping file, an RGF. And what that will do is it will tell AutoCAD Electrical to group these reports together and basically report automatically. Now, because I haven't got any SET files set up, obviously that's not available to me, but my selected reports, I would select them from the list on the left, click on Add, move them to the list on the right, and those selected reports would then be set up automatically. So that's your automatic reports. I'll just cancel that now. And what we'll do, we'll start looking at putting reports into drawings and putting reports through to files in the next few videos. I did give you a brief glance into bringing a report into a drawing earlier. I didn't actually change any of the settings though. So let's look now at bringing our report into our drawing, but look at it in more depth and change the settings and make sure that it's what we want when we bring it into the drawing on our AutoCAD Electrical drawings in our project. So we go back to the Reports tab here on the ribbon, and once we're there, we're going to go to our Reports button here. and we're using the component schematic report. We want it for the active drawing. We'll include the children, as we did previously, freshen project database, installation all, location all, and I'll click on OK. Now, what we can do here is we can add all the information we want on the report to come into the drawing. So I'm going to add time, date, title line, project line, column labels, so that when this comes into the drawing, we can see the column names and we can relate the information in the columns. We don't need any page breaks because we haven't really got enough to fill up a page. We've only got those few lines there. To bring the report into the drawing, it's very easy. We just click on Put on Drawing. And then we've got all our settings for things like text heights, spacings, insert new. We can insert a new non-updatable table. So this is coming in as an AutoCAD table. If you set it as non-updatable, it's a one-off snapshot of your project. If you do insert new, it means it's updatable and can be updated at any time. Title, I'll include the time and the date, include the project info, and include the title line. I can also change the title color if I wish. So what I might do is make that red. It's going on to layer miscellaneous. I can select the layer it goes on. So let's have a look. Have we got any layers we could use there perhaps? We haven't got a reports layer at the moment, which is a shame. We could use that. Miscellaneous for the moment though will be fine. I've got column widths calculate automatically, or I can define widths if I want to. I want all borders showing, and I want a first new section placement. So I can actually go and set this up so it always goes in the same place on every drawing I put a report into. And I've also got the row definition and the rows for each section. I don't need to worry about any of that really. I'm just going to go and place this manually in the drawing using the mouse in a moment. So when I click on OK now, there's my table. And what I'm going to do is just line that up by eye there and click. My table goes in. Everything is now in the drawing. If I just move that up, you can see it there. So I can actually close the report generator. Let's zoom in and have a look at that now. You'll see there's all the information, date of report, time of report. There's my item, tag name. This is actually an AutoCAD table. So if I do click on it, it responds in the same way as any other AutoCAD table does. But be aware though, you can update it. There is a link where you can update it in the project itself. So if I run another report now, I can update the information if I need to. So if I right click there, you'll notice I've got all the table styles, size columns equally, and so on and so forth. So I can actually edit the table style if I wish. At the moment, it's using ACE Table 1, which is a default AutoCAD Electrical table style. But I can change that. I can convert it to my company's specific table style, for example. I'll just hit Escape there to obviously deselect the table, but you get the idea. So that's how I can bring my report into my drawing. Now, it may be that you just have one title block, like so, and you have the entire report sitting on a drawing itself, and you print that off as part of your project. Nothing wrong with that, perfectly all right. But obviously use it to your own specification and make sure that you're showing the information that needs to be shown when you're bringing your report into your AutoCAD electrical drawing. Let's have a look now at taking our report, generating it and placing it into a particular file format. We've already placed our report on our drawing, and as you can see, our project is active and our drawing is active in the drawing list in the project. So all we've got to do is go up to the reports button here and click on it. We're going to do the component report like we did on the drawing. We're going to go for components on the active drawing, category, schematic, options. We'll tick all of them, including children for the parent-sibling relationships between any components on the drawing. We'll also freshen the project database to make sure that the data in the report is up to date. Installation codes, we'll have all of them. Location codes, we'll have all of them as well. So when I click on OK, it generates our report like so. I'm going to add all of the header details like I did when we brought the report into the drawing. I can add page breaks if I want to. What I will do here, because it's going into an Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to add blanks between the entries. That'll give a row between each entry on the Excel spreadsheet. So when I go save to file now, There's my options there. I've got an ASCII report, which is just literally text as it's shown on the screen. There's my Excel option there. That's the one I'm going to use, so I'll leave that selected. I can also go for Access Database format, which is an MDB file. XML format, which goes into web pages, extranet, intranet kind of environments. And we've also got CSV, delimited, which can be read by Excel, but it can also be read by other database formats like Oracle and Microsoft SQL. There's my Excel spreadsheet option. Click on OK, and that will ask me to save that file to a known location. Now, I'm not going to worry about going through and finding the path to save it to. I'm going to hit cancel there. And what I'll do is I'll show you where it's been saved to. So there's my component report XLS. If I double click on that, it'll open it up. And there's my report there. As you can see, it's just a basic Excel spreadsheet, but you'll notice those extra lines that I mentioned don't actually count. Even though you've set it up with extra lines, it'll only put those extra lines in if you're putting it into something like an ASCII format or a CSV format. Excel, it just closes them up, as you can see. So that's how you put your report into separate file types.